You might be watching this video on a mobile phone, a laptop, or even a television. You might be playing some music through a high-pitched speaker, relaxing and enjoying your day. Some of you may have been endowed to own an electric vehicle from Tesla, General Motors, BMW, or maybe Volkswagen. The outstanding thing about all these gadgets is that they've been made to rely on renewable energy and decrease carbon emissions. This is to make the world a safe and better place. The brains behind these evolutions are our heroes, those who bring to the forefront of the minds of consumers a demonstration of each phase of product development. They showcase the beauty of it, and it always calls for a celebration. But wait, where do the raw materials come from? What makes up the lithium-ion batteries of smartphones and electric vehicles? This is where the Democratic Republic of Congo comes in, and right there, the dark side of green technology is unveiled and makes the whole concept questionable. In subsequent chapters of this video, we will be looking at the DR Congo cobalt rush, how the quest to protect the environment is ironically posing greater danger, and also how the supply chain of cobalt is characterized by unimaginable illegalities. My name is Bernard, and you're watching African Dream Motivation. Let's begin. According to greentech.earth, green technology is a technology whose use is intended to mitigate or reverse the effects of human activities on the environment. Green technology is also known as clean technology, and it again refers to environmentally friendly products and processes aimed at reducing harm to the environment. While green technology has many benefits, including reducing greenhouse gas emissions, conserving resources, and improving public health, it also has a dark and evil side, which to a greater extent contradicts its core purpose. One element that plays a major role in the success of green technology evolution is cobalt. This is a key component in the production of lithium-ion batteries, which is widely used in the consumer electronics, electric vehicles, and renewable energy storage systems. In these batteries, cobalt is used in the cathode, which is responsible for storing and releasing energy. It is a critical component because of its high energy density, stability, and ability to recharge over many cycles. Due to the large production of lithium-ion batteries, the demand for cobalt has increased in recent years. This rush for cobalt didn't start yesterday. In fact, it began about a century ago. Let's look at a brief history of cobalt production in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Cobalt mining in the DR Congo began in the early 1900s during the colonial era. At the time, the country was known as the Belgium Congo and was under the control of the Belgium colonial government. The Belgium colonial authorities were interested in exploiting the country's rich natural resources, including cobalt, and established several large-scale mining operations. After the country gained independence in 1960, the new Congolese government continued to support and promote cobalt mining, with much of the production being exported to industrialized countries. However, the industry was also characterized by political instability, corruption, and exploitation, and the benefit of cobalt mining did not reach the local population. During the 1970s, the Democratic Republic of Congo was facing a major conflict known as the Congo War. The conflict was fueled by the country's political instability, ethnic tensions, and competition for control of its vast natural resources, including the cobalt. In the midst of these conflicts, some powerful Western countries saw an opportunity to exploit the country's cobalt production for their own gains. These countries used their political and economic influence to secure access to DR Congo's cobalt supplies, often at the expense of the ordinary citizen. This involved supporting various factions in the conflict, providing military and financial support, and negotiating favorable mining contracts. In many cases, these actions perpetuated the conflict and contributed to the suffering of the Congolese people. At the same time, they used their technological expertise to modernize and expand DR Congo's cobalt mining operations. This led to increased cobalt production and exports, but also to greater environmental degradation, health hazard to workers and local communities, and limited local benefit from the sector. All these exploitations were before the mineral became highly demanded by big corporations. Before the 21st century, cobalt was mainly used for steel production, where it is added to improve its hardness, toughness, and resistance to wear and corrosion. This made it a key component in the production of aircraft, machinery, and other industrial products. It was also significant in the production of high-performing permanent magnets, which are used in a variety of products, including generators and loudspeakers. But with technology advancing in the late 20th century, the room for high demand began rising, and according to the scarcity principle, the price for scarce goods should rise until an equilibrium is reached between supply and demand. In this case, the demand continued to outweigh the supply, making an equilibrium impossible, and therefore, the price kept soaring. Such advanced technologies affecting the increase in demand included the use of radioactive isotopes in healthcare. Cobalt-60, a radioactive isotope of cobalt, is used in medical imaging, cancer treatment, and industrial applications. This was just the tip of the iceberg. Innovations and inventions began popping up, making life easier. Corporations began preaching about green technology, and this paved way for greater demand. In the late 20th century, cobalt became a key component in the production of rechargeable lithium-ion batteries, which are used in a variety of applications, including laptops, smartphones, and electric vehicles. All these high-tech products were in the early stages and were now gradually being introduced to the market. Laptops and mobile phones have undergone a gradual transformation from 2007 to 2016. They grew to full production, demanding so much cobalt for its batteries. Around the same time, the electric vehicle industry began unveiling its outstanding achievement. The cost of early batteries of electric vehicles were very expensive, making the entire cost of the vehicle outrageous. Companies later began switching to the use of cobalt, which helped to produce a battery at a relatively lower cost. For instance, when Tesla produced their first electric vehicle, the Tesla Roadster, it was priced at $109,000. This was due to the high cost of battery production. And when they mastered the production of lithium-ion batteries, and with the help of economies of scale, some of their electric vehicles were priced at $50,000. These and many factors led to an increase in demand and therefore increasing price of cobalt. The first significant rise of cobalt prices in the 21st century occurred in 2016 and 2017, when price increases were over 200% due to increased demand from the electric vehicle sector and supply chain disruptions. Since then, cobalt prices had remained high, with occasional fluctuations due to changes in demand and supply. The race to lead the green technology market was on, with companies like Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, General Motors, and many others showcasing their competitiveness. Their products were funded mostly from the United States, assembled in China, and distributed to the world. While the production chain was clearly visible, the supply chain wasn't of interest to many people. This is where an evil market was created. Many companies and investors took advantage and gained billions of dollars every year. This greedy and opaque market led to an increased case of child labor, conflict, and forced labor. This brings us to our next chapter. Child labor is a major problem in the cobalt mining industry in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where over 60% of the world cobalt is produced. The problem is particularly severe in the informal mines that produces cobalt as a byproduct of other minerals, where children as young as 7 years old are often employed to work long hours in hazardous conditions. The use of child labor in cobalt mining in DR Congo is fueled by poverty, a lack of access to education, and inadequate government enforcement of labor laws. Many families rely on income from their children working in the mines to survive. And with few alternatives available, children are often forced to work in dangerous conditions. The working conditions of these cobalt mines in DR Congo are so dangerous that they lead to serious health problems for children, including respiratory diseases, skin infections, and physical injuries. In addition, children are often exposed to toxic chemicals and other hazardous materials which can have a long-term health consequences. This unethical and inhuman practice involves giving drugs to children to make them work longer hours in more dangerous conditions. A research conducted by Nicholas Niakos and posted by the New Yorker revealed that some children were drugged in order to surpass hunger. Other times too, if the kids don't make enough money, they have no food for the whole day. Some children they interviewed did not remember the last time they had a meal. This is a clear example of what is on the grounds. Sometimes too, these forms of forced labor are as a result of increasing number of armed groups. Just like many mining countries in Africa where political instability reigns, DR Congo is also facing disturbing occurrences of conflict. When armed groups take over mining sites, the situation becomes very horrific. People are forced to work at gunpoint. Others are taken hostages and killed at the least hesitation. In many instances, workers, often from rural areas, are lured to mining sites with promises of work and good pay, but they are then forced to work in dangerous conditions for little or no salary. With the rapid rise in the price of cobalt, the ownership and control of mining sites had become a battle of the strongest. In DR Congo, the informal sector of cobalt mining is sometimes extracted in areas controlled by armed groups and criminal networks that use violence to extract the mineral. These armed groups and criminal networks have been accused of human rights abuses, including forced labor, child labor, and violence against miners. The more disturbing fact is that this informal sector produces more cobalt than Russia, which is the second largest cobalt producing country in the world. The disheartening problem here is that these inhuman mining practices are directly or indirectly part of the supply chain of highly prestigious tech companies. Therefore, they are motivated to use any means possible, whether human or inhuman, to extract their precious minerals and cash out big. After all, their goal is to make more money to be able to reinforce themselves and fight for whatever cause they are fighting for. Human rights protection is none of their business. The conflict over cobalt has been fueled by the government's inability to take full control of mineral-rich areas, a weak rule of law, and a lack of economic opportunities for local communities. As a result of this, local communities have been vulnerable to exploitations by armed groups and criminal networks that control these mines. Even though the government is trying so hard to curb the insurgents, it has become a canker that has stood its ground successfully to resist any force. This fight against illegal mining and inhuman practices has become a nearly impossible battle because for every cobalt that is mined, there is an instant buyer. Investors are readily available to put their monies on the table so far as the material is available. Many countries, especially in the UK and the US, are trying to prevent such supply chain and hold companies responsible for negligence in sourcing raw materials, but somehow the illegalities still find their way into the supply chain. This is where the role of the big players of the industry comes in. In recent times, electric vehicle and mobile phone companies have been accused of exploiting the DR Congo for its abundant cobalt reserves. Cobalt is a critical component of the production of the lithium-ion batteries, which for some time now had been the bedrock of success of electric vehicles and smartphones. There have been allegations that some electric vehicles and mobile phone companies have used suppliers that source cobalt from mines controlled by armed groups and criminal networks that engage in inhuman practices, including forced labor and child labor. These companies have also been accused of not conducting proper due diligence on their supplies and not taking adequate measures to ensure that the cobalt they purchase is sourced from responsible and sustainable mines. In addition, there have been claims that some tech companies have taken advantage of weak government and lack of transparency in DR Congo to secure favorable prices of cobalt, often at the expense of the local community and its workers. This is what is popularly referred to as sourcing conflict materials. These concerns has led to legal actions being taken against big corporations that source cobalt from such vulnerable areas. In 2019, Apple, Google, Dell, Microsoft, and Tesla were named as defendants in a lawsuit filed in Washington, D.C. by human rights firm International Rights Advocates on behalf of 14 parents and children from the DR Congo. The lawsuit, which is the result of field research conducted by anti-slavery economist Siddharth Kara, accused the companies of aiding and abetting in the death and serious injury of children who they claim were working in cobalt mines in the supply chain. The families argued in their claim that their children were working illegally at mines owned by the UK mining company Glencore. The court papers allege that cobalt from Glencore-owned mines is sold to Unicor, a Brussels-based metal and mining trader, which then sell battery-grade cobalt to Apple, Google, Tesla, Microsoft, and Dell. Similar lawsuits have been filed in recent times, demonstrating how worse the working conditions of miners have been in these mining sites. Today, many tech companies have taken steps to ensure that their supply chain are free of conflict materials. These include conducting audits, implementing traceable systems, and working with suppliers to ensure that the minerals used in their products are ethically sourced. However, the danger is still out there, with illegalities increasing at the speed of light. According to the Executive Director of RAID, Anneke van Woudenberg, the mining industries claim that large-scale cobalt mining in Congo is clean, sustainable, and free from human rights abuses is simply not matched by the reality. In response, she explained, and I quote, "Our research reveals that the cobalt destined for the batteries in electric vehicles is largely based on a system of cheap labor and exploitation of thousands of the Congolese workers." Unquote. With this improper view, more drastic measures need to be adopted to make a turnaround. The world needs green technology to promote sustainable development and minimize the negative impact of human activities on the environment. The world must adopt green technology to reduce the use of non-renewable resources and decrease carbon emissions, which contribute to climate change. But while all these advances are being considered, the means to get there should not defeat the purpose of introducing these technologies in the first place. Children are being abused and forced to work beyond their capabilities. Armed groups are killing to hold possessions of mining sites. This is the wrong way to go. It is crucial to address these dangers and find a solution that balances the need for cobalt with the need to protect the rights of workers and environment. The world must act to ensure that the extraction of cobalt is done in a responsible and sustainable manner, so that future generations will be able to also enjoy the benefits of these vital minerals. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. This has been Bernard and you've been watching African Dream Motivation. Kindly subscribe for more.